Willkommen Abenteuer Adventures in Lollygagging. Is it it's welcome in Abenteuer? Something like that. The more I mangle it, the more it annoys Jeff, and he's not allowed to show that he's annoyed because he's in character right now. So this is just my time. This is like my spa day. I get to come in here and I get to, hog all the spotlight and mangle our German. And we are speaking German because we're playing Magnus Archives, and our version of the Institute is set in Hamburg, Germany. Thanks to Melissa. It was an excellent choice. I've really been enjoying it. Have you guys been studying your German as well? Anyone? No? You got 2 weeks between sessions. You don't do any sort of research or,
I mean, you got 2 weeks and you still got the intro wrong. So.
German, but I speak my German.
long
Coming out swinging.
The jab. Well played.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into our recap. Last session we opened with Zander, Emily, and Lucien regrouping after discovering a massive hornet's nest in the Zhang's back garden. After regaining their wits, Zander took pictures of the nest while Lucien caught one of the hornet-like insects and named it Charles. Apparently, he wants to keep it as a pet. Inside, Frieda and Naveen attempted to reason with Karen Zhang to leave, but she was too focused on keeping the bedroom door shut. Karen kept trying to soothe Tom, her husband, on the other side of the door, but that doesn't make sense because Tom was dead. And before she could respond to Naveen, a papery arm broke through the door. The door burst open. A human-shaped hornet's nest stood in the door frame. And these papery leathers of flesh crunched and crinkled as the creature moved into the hallway. Karen thrust her son Nikolaus into Frieda's arms, yelling for her to take him. Naveen would not leave Karen and shoved her out of the way before pulling down a tall cabinet to block the path behind them. And once outside, the four of them met up with Lucien, Emily, and Zander, and Karen fell into a state of shock. The researchers discussed for a while on how to move forward, and Zander decided he needed to see whatever Tom was. Nicholas slipped away and ran around the house. And Lucien attempted to catch him, but fell when trying to jump the fence as rotten wood collapsed underneath him. And with Nikolaus in danger again, the group had no choice but to go back in the house. They moved slowly, clearing room by room until they found the boy in a playroom sitting on Tom the monster's lap. Zander rushed in to grab Nikolaus, provoking a swarm of insects to erupt from this face-like nest. A struggle ensued as Emily and Naveen took the brunt of the swarms, and Zander struggled with Tom. Once Lucien was able to grab the child and get him to safety, the rest of the group retreated, locking Tom and the swarms in the playroom. They immediately began loading up their van to leave, and strangely enough, perfect timing, a pair of exterminators showed up. Beacon and Howe, the two exterminators who were supposed to take care of the nest a week earlier. The group happily left the exterminators to their work and took the Zhangs to a nearby hospital. And then after a long, stressful day, the researchers returned to the Magnus Institute. They arrived late at night, well past office hours, but their manager, Ludwig, was still in. Without asking for a report of the day's events, he called Frieda into his office. And in private, Ludwig accused Frieda of not trusting him and of hiding files from him. He then pulled out a folder of paperwork that he claimed was hidden under Frieda's desk. Most of the material was destroyed in the Institute's recent flooding. And then he charged Frieda with recreating the files from memory. The only problem is that Frieda seems to have never seen these files before. After going home for the evening, and perhaps from the stress of the day's events, the other researchers, they each had their own strange encounter. Zander dreamt that he saw a field of cows outside of his apartment window. He lived in the city. That didn't make sense. And in this dream, a man with a dog and an axe slaughtered 2 of the cattle before the rest got away. Emily returned to her apartment where she spent time with her roommate, and she began experiencing severe tooth pain as if there was a scratching in her gums. And looking in the mirror, she saw a hornet's leg push up out from her gums and then pull back in. Naveen spent the night going to a rave with her friend where she hallucinated a floating crystal above the dance floor, this infinitely faceted crystal that seemed to be suspended in a vast void, and it wanted to pull her in. Lucian spent the evening on the roof of his Datsun, meditating and committing self-harm by carving numbers into his flesh. When he saw the inside of his vehicle, he found a paper bag hanging from the rearview mirror. Inside the bag was an old white dress. It was ruined by old bloodstains and also had a fresh black paint stain in the impression of a smiling face. And a note fell down that said, "I want to share my passion with you as well." We are going to pick up the next morning. You all have rested. You've recovered your pools and points that you've spent. You've re-rolled ciphers if you wanted. And you gained some XP for solving part of the case. And I believe that you want to still tie up some loose ends. Likely, you're all still very, very exhausted. You still have to go to work the next day. You have to be there at 9 a.m. like normal. Frieda, let's start with you. I don't know if did we establish where you live?
I don't think so.
What does your place look like? Is it an apartment, a flat of some sort?
Yeah, I think it's shaped kind of like a townhome off the canals, but it's split up into separate apartments. So she has the top floor of the townhome is her home.
Fantastic. Do you have a roommate or anything?
No.
Okay. Hold that thought. I'm going to punt to Lucian for a second. Lucian, when you were a young child, being Frieda's younger brother, is it safe to say that you were obsessive even as a child, that perhaps you had like a piece of clothing that you were very fond of and you would refuse to wear anything else for, some stretch of your life?
Yes.
What would that piece of clothing be?
It was a hat.
A hat. What did it look like?
It looked like the one I am wearing right now.
But it's not the same one because it probably grew out of that one, we'd say.
I would not say that.
Okay.
Little
Frieda.
Lucian had like this really big hat, and then eventually he grew into the hat.
Like it even came down over his eyes. You could just see a mouth. Frieda, as you have gotten ready for the morning, you open your door to go out to work, and inside this townhome, but on the floor that you're on, so you still need a key to be like in this stairway to get access here. On the ground in front of your door is Lucian's hat.
Which this does bother her a little bit because she knows Lucian wouldn't just leave it there, but also he has a key. He is welcome to come to her apartment at any time. She specifically doesn't have a roommate in case Lucian wants to be her roommate kind of situation. So
yeah.
She'll pick it up and like she texts him a picture of his hat with just like a question mark because this is odd. Like, why did you just leave this here? And then she'll follow it up and say, "I'm bringing your hat to work," and she'll throw it in her briefcase, and she's heading off to work.
All right. You put it in your briefcase right next to some case files that you just got recently from your previous manager, Shirley Harlock.
Yes.
Did you spend any more time thinking about that last night, or did you just put it out of your mind as you went to rest?
I think she would have spent some time thinking on it and would have already have intentions and plans to set up interviews and reach out to so she can speak with Dr. Molloy.
Okay, fantastic. You make your way to work. We see you walking into St. Catherine's Church. You're going through a side door. You know that they have the main door already set up with a sign for like the tour groups to gather there before going in. Every 15 minutes they do another tour. But you go through the side door and you walk down these basement-like steps into this sort of underground level. was going to be a parking garage at one point, but it was paved over and repurposed. There is still this massive ventilation tube that goes up these stairs that take up about half of the stairway. So you have to walk off to the side, careful not to trip. And you can hear these industrial fans that are blowing through, trying to make sure that there's no more mold or moisture down below. It's frustrating to think that this is how your day is going to be spent listening to this. But you got to make your paycheck, right?
Yep.
You walk in, and Frieda, as soon as you come in, you see the rest of the group already sitting at their desks in their cubicles. These cubicles have been cleaned as best they can, put back together. Everyone has new workstations now, as the computers before were ruined. There's a lot of wet files, destroyed files. They're all going through these papers, trying to put them together. You look up at the clock, and it's 10:30. How did you lose all this time?
And she'll look up at that clock. She'll go ahead and she'll look at her wristwatch, and then she'll even go digging in her briefcase for her phone just to confirm that the time.
All 3 times match up. You see Ludwig standing outside his office, and he looks at you, and he looks up at the clock, and he just shakes his head and then goes back into his office and shuts the door.
And at that, you just hear her, she like curses under her breath, like, and immediately just throws herself into her cubicle and just starts working.
The rest of you've already been at work. What type of, we can go in any order here. What type of clues or documentation are you trying to pursue as you wrap up the Zhang case?
As the lead of the case, I would have informed everyone. I want the reports done by today. We had a late night yesterday. Close any ends you have.
Will do.
Navi's gonna just check in on Karen and the kid whose name I'm forgetting, but it dropped them off at the hospital. So she just was gonna make sure they're taking care of their place to go after, like just check in on them basically.
Let's make this a roll. It's going to be intellect, and it's going to be difficulty 2, we'll say. It's not too difficult, but essentially 2, you're calling the hospital, convincing whoever you speak to that you were the one who brought them in, and you just want to check up and follow up on that.
Okay. Would persuasion, which is trained?
Persuasion absolutely would work, reducing it to difficulty 1. So you really just need a 3 or better here.
Okay.
There you go. Easily beat it.
13.
You get put on hold for a good amount of time as the person you talk to, the executive assistant, is discussing whether she's allowed to release this information. Eventually, she comes back, and you get the sense that she's not supposed to be telling you this, but because it's not specifically about their physical condition, and because maybe you got lucky and she's one of the ones who was there working last night, working again this morning, so she recognizes the voice in the story. She tells you that Karen Zhang has been put into psychiatric care, and for now, Nicholas is in foster care.
Okay. I will. I'll follow their way. And that sort of instantly gets Nami's attention for a couple of reasons. One is that it's pretty intense generally to happen in cause, and second, she herself was a foster kid, so she will let Zander know that this is what's happening with them, and that he's probably being taken care of, but if we have time to check in on them, it's a good idea that we do that. Just to make sure.
That's good.
That was all I wanted to do. Thanks, Jimmy.
Okay. Did anyone else have anything that they were trying to follow up on?
Yeah, so Emily was going to do a little bit of digging into this pest control company, Werner and Howe. So she would kind of try to get some basic information about sort of like how long they'd been in business. And then she also wants to, I'm going to give this a go, wants to look into if there's any kind of records with the Verbraucherschutzstrahl, which is the Consumer Protection Center in Germany. So to kind of see what kind of business information there is.
Absolutely. Let's call this an intellect test as well. We'll say that it's not really how Cypher works, but let's give this a bit of a scale. If you get difficulty 2, you'll get some basic information. And if you get difficulty 4, I'll give you a little bit more.
Okay, so I will spending 2 on that. So that would be
you spent 2 points to apply effort.
Yes.
Okay, so that would lower the 4 to a 3. You got a 9, which beats difficulty 3. So the basic information is that Beacon and Howe has been in business for about 11, 12 years, not that long. You look up where they are located. They're not too far away, just on the north side of Hamburg. They're in a sort of industrial building that houses a lot of smaller businesses. You can see from like the Google Maps street view that the windows are completely covered. There's no sign of anything inside. And there's also no sign like above, like it doesn't say Beacon and Howe exterminators or anything like that. When it comes to the reviews, we'll say that you dig a little bit deeper. You dig into their consumer protection. There are some complaints, mostly about timeliness or about not completing the job. But you look more into business records as you're digging deeper, and the extra information you're going to get is that there's no actual tax information for this company. Nothing that would be publicly available like it should be. None of these records that you go for, it essentially doesn't exist on paper. So while there are like complaints that have been lodged, there's no actual financial structure associated with it. Okay. At least under the Beacon and Howe name.
Interesting. Okay. So Emily will kind of take all of this information. So this is basically just to kind of have something to cross-reference if this company comes back later in another statement, just kind of making sure that the report that we're submitting is as thorough as possible. And so I would say maybe also, would she be able to see if this company has come up in any other statements before? So sort of like internally doing a cross-reference?
Yes. So you actually have already, you did that before you started before. And you can go through as you're going back to make sure that it's fully cross-referenced. 2 years ago, there was a man named Leroy Kolb who gave a statement about an inordinate amount of flies in his garage. And he felt it was supernatural. He mentioned that he ultimately employed Beacon and Howe to deal with the issue. And the statement says that the problem was dealt with in an unconventional manner. And it provides no other information.
Would I be able to see if there's any current information on this Leroy individual? Like, does he still seem to be living or any? Yeah. Okay.
We'll roll over your success. The information that you have from the statement is outdated, but there are public records that you find online that appear to be likely the same Leroy Kolb that you could try to call up, or his address if you wanted to go visit him.
I may just call.
Okay. Let's call this, we'll just make it a simple luck test. Roll a D100 for me, and a 51 or up is good.
66.
All right. The phone rings, and it rings, and it rings. And at first you think it's going to go to voicemail because it's taking so long. And then you get a, hello.
Hello, Mr. Kolb.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm calling, and she'll kind of introduce herself and all that. And I'm following up We had spoken with you about 2 years ago and just wanted to follow up and see how things were.
What do you need? Is that problem? It was taken care of.
To your satisfaction, there were no troubles.
Yeah. The bugs, they're gone.
That's very good to hear. Very good to hear. We'd run into another situation that didn't have the same outcome, so that's why we were cross-referencing to make sure that everything was good with you.
Yeah, no problems. The two big guys in uniforms, they showed up, they went to the garage and came out a few minutes later, covered head to toe in flies.
And they took all of them away.
Yeah, they got in their van just like that and left. Never heard from them again.
And your garage was fine? No other issues?
No more flies.
That is very good to hear. Glad that you were not having issues any longer. Is there anything that I would be able to... I know we're talking over the phone, so maybe not. Like, does he seem like on the up and up, or nervous?
I'll give it to you.
Or sketchy, or...
As this conversation goes on, he seems like he doesn't really want to talk about it, but it doesn't seem like he's searching for the right words. If anything, he's just trying to tell you what you need to end the conversation.
Yeah, I did cold call out of nowhere. And when there's a lull in the conversation, she will kind of hold the phone to her ear very closely just to make sure she doesn't hear flies in the background.
Yeah, I'll give this to you. You've passed your test here. You do not hear any flies in the background.
Okay. Very glad to know. I'll add the note that 2 years on, things are still well with you. I thank you for taking my call today.
And then he doesn't even say goodbye. You just click. The line goes dead.
Guten Tag. Good. Oh, okay. And so she will make a note in the original statement to kind of update that with the follow-up call.
Absolutely. You make the addendum and everything.
She'll consider her portion of this done.
All right. Lucian, Frieda, anything you two want to follow up on?
I was waiting.
Yes, Lucian, what would you like to follow up on?
Lucian is very curious about Charles, but also about the hive, and also about the fact that prior to us venturing to the farm, to the family's home, we found ourselves a hornet in our own offices, and he would like to continue to study to see whether this is mere coincidence or if there is some greater sort of synchronicity or causal connection.
All right. Never know which opening to go for. So now you have 2 hornet-like insects in 2 different containers of Tupperware, I believe. You've got them both at the office. Let's say this is an intellect test. We'll say difficulty 3 as you're trying to compare them. You'll get some basic visual information, but if you succeed, you'll get a little bit more.
I see. I have perception. But that
Perception would work well for this.
The nature of the research, is it purely biological, or is there something more of a cult or philosophical or mathematical, perhaps?
I would take a cult if that's something you've got.
I do. I am trained. I see. I shall roll the test now. I rolled a 5. which beats a difficulty of 1, which I believe I reduced it to with my use of perception and occultism.
You did. You was difficulty 3, ease twice, success here. So some of the basic things you're looking at, you have one that's in this like plastic sewing kit, one that's in a Tupperware container. I believe both are alive. Did one of them die? I don't think so.
They both have names.
But are they alive?
Yes.
Okay.
But then again, are any of us alive? What is life?
I know Charles' name. Which one's the other's name?
The other is named Charles II.
But that was the first one you got. Charles II was the first hornet you caught.
Time is not linear. Time is not a line, but a folded multiplicity.
You fold the paper in half, you put the pen through. And that's how we get Event Horizon. All right. Charles and Charles II. Charles II being the older of the two hornets, as far as you know. Biologically, there are similarities, but they are not the same by any means. Charles, the one you got from the Zhang house, has a lot of legs, like a centipede amount of legs. And they're just wiggling and writhing. A centipede, when the legs move, they move in unison. Charles, it's just chaos. Might be some chaos theory to study there in how it is able to coordinate like that, but there is no real rhythm to it. Charles II is a lot more like an actual hornet. With the success, though, I'll tell you that as you're looking at Charles II, it's definitely not a natural hornet. It looks closer to one, but you look and you see there are indentations in its body as if legs have been plucked, as if it could have been similar to Charles, but legs were pulled out. That's not the only difference. Charles has a head that is much more hornet-like than Charles. I'm sorry, Charles II has a head that's much more hornet-like than Charles. And Charles II has that mark on the back that looks as if it could be a smiling face. It's this black mark that is not the same as the hornet that you got from the Zhang house.
You see, the reason the first hornet is called Charles II is because it was not until the second creature was discovered that the first creature warranted a name.
And I assume Lucian is saying this out loud to himself at his desk.
Yes, of course, but not to himself. To Charles and Charles II. So they have a right to understand my findings. Follow-up question. Do they feel or appear entirely biological in nature and corollary? Am I able to deduce their genus and species based upon my observations and my access to the World Wide Web?
There's a lot of bug identification websites that you can go through as a resource to use. Charles II is much closer to an actual hornet that you can almost identify, but there are still parts that just it doesn't match up the way you would like it to feel comfortable saying that. The hornet it looks like is similar to a hornet that's in the American Badlands, very far away from Hamburg, Germany here. Charles is like nothing else that you've seen. It's got elements of centipede and hornet, and it blends those two bugs in a way that's just not natural. With that said, it's 100% organic. This doesn't look as if it's like a robot or anything like that, but it does ping that occult wondering that you're thinking about. You have probably studied a lot of occult philosophy in your life. This isn't necessarily something that you would have like studied, like the meshing of bodies, the abominations that can come from this, but it does make you think that like that's a solution. It's got to be something strange and supernatural.
I see. Is it possible to determine their relative ages? In the sense which one seems to have been living, if that is the word we are using, for longer than the other?
I don't know if this is me not being a very good entomologist, if there's a way to really detect the age of a bug other than its size or like stage and life cycle. I would say that Charles is bigger than Charles II by about a half inch or so. Charles II is about 1.5 inches. Charles is 2 inches plus. So from that thought, it could be that Charles II is a later stage in the life cycle. If they're the same bug, likely they're not, though.
I see. I am finished.
Lucian says this out loud. You all have cubicles with these like 3/4 walls, so you can all see and hear each other at will as Lucian is talking to these two bugs on his desk. Frieda, did you have anything that you were wanting to follow up on?
Her final thing would have been making sure to get a certificate of death for the husband, Tom, just to have completeness of the file.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be something that you likely wouldn't be able to get over the phone.
Yeah, she'd probably have to go in person.
Yeah, like there are administrative buildings that are like essentially, I'm calling them courthouse in English. They're not necessarily the same thing where they don't necessarily have court in there, but that is where people go to like file paperwork for public services and things like that. So you would have to go to a courthouse essentially to get that paperwork.
Yeah, and that'd be something that she would do today.
Okay. So we'll say that not trying to deny you this, you absolutely can do this. But while you're still here in the office, you have work to do and you plan on doing that like on the way home or something like that?
Yeah, or like on her lunch break or something.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Which everyone else's lunch break is coming up, but you are a little bit late. And as you're going through your emails, you're on this new computer and this, I'm calling it a workstation because it essentially is a remote desktop. Nothing that you have was actually saved on the tower in your cubicle because you're archivists. Everything is backed up to a server somewhere else. So fortunately, all of your digital files are perfectly fine. You don't have anything missing there. You're going through your emails. You don't have that many. You've spent a couple days out of the office, so it's a bit more than normal. But most of the communication that you all deal with are with people who come in for statements and with each other. So it's not like there's a corporation that you have to constantly communicate with other people through. So you're spending about 15, 20 minutes going through these emails, and you actually see one from the courthouse. The same one that you were just thinking that you need to go check with. The name says Miles at courthouse.gov, whatever it would be. And it's just a smiley face in the subject title.
Okay. She'll open it because that's bizarre.
You open it, the email's blank.
She's gonna report it as phishing and then just kind of close out of it.
All right. With that, lunch break comes. Frieda, it's not like this is perfectly timed. You don't have to clock in, clock out. Not every minute's tracked, so you're able to take lunch with everyone else. You may not be as hungry as everyone else though, because it really only feels like you got up a couple hours ago. Do you all eat lunch together? I know a lot of you pack lunches or you do some food prepping. How many of you actually go out somewhere local?
I would say
Naveen usually does. Sorry. Oh
no, good.
I was just saying that Naveen does, and is whoever wants to come is welcome to.
I would say that because you said that there's like industrial fans in here because of the like water and everything. So I would say that would be a reason for Emily to kind of look around everybody. Like, it's real noisy in here. We've wrapped this up. We want to go grab some lunch out today.
No one responds.
I'm going to go to the courthouse, but you guys are welcome to. And you'll watch as Frieda just quickly gets her stuff together and she just skips lunch and just goes straight to the courthouse.
Frieda, you're getting your stuff together, putting files into your briefcase. You open your briefcase and you remember the hat. You picked up Lucian's hat this morning. You look up at Lucian. He's at his desk talking to a couple insects wearing his hat. Look in your briefcase. The black beanie that you picked up is not there. There is a child's hat, though. It's like a costume hat. You pull it out, and you pull out this red, like, cowboy hat with, like, white lace on it.
And she just kind of stops and she looks at it and she's like, I think... And she'll pull out her phone because she sent a picture of the beanie to Lucian. So she's going to check and review the picture that she sent him to make sure that it's still the beanie.
The picture in the conversation, Lucian, if you looked at your phone and seen this, the picture is of a children's cowboy hat. I mean, it's very much child size. Like, it wouldn't fit on any of your heads.
This is bizarre. I'd like to like inspect it.
Yeah. There's not a ton to inspect. Like, you're not going to be able to detect like where the fibers come from or anything, but you can look at a tag on the inside, and it says made in Vietnam, and it's got a Pixar logo on it, but it's like an old Pixar logo, like a 90s Pixar logo.
This is... and she'll just kind of, at that point, frustratedly throw it in her trash and then just kind of quickly snap up her briefcase and just... as she's leaving, you're hearing her mumbling about, like, what is up with me this morning? Did I get a concussion? Or, like... And she's just kind of, like, feeling at her head as she just continues, like, walking along.
You head out to go to the courthouse. Emily, you were discussing like everyone going to lunch together. You see Frieda like hold her head, and as she does that, you also feel a pain in your head, but that tooth pain, that dental pain is coming back.
And I would say that Emily probably has had some like Anbesol or something that she's like, she keeps kind of putting on there every so often. And so she's like going to the bathroom, putting some on like a Q-tip or something and just like trying to kind of numb it out a bit. And so she'll figure that it's been a little bit, she'll kind of run back in the bathroom, and like, since no one responded immediately, she'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Let me know when I'm out. Who wants to go? And then she'll go into the bathroom and kind of see if she can kind of numb her jaw up a bit.
And fortunately, this pain, it's not like the same scratching. Like, you don't feel like an actual scratch, but it is just the ache. The ache that won't go away, that's very common with tooth pain. Zander, we might have skipped you. Did you say you wanted to follow up on anything with this case?
Oh, I had
Or are you happy to collate everything that everyone's put together?
Yeah, I'm pretty much doing what you just said.
Okay. So this final report that you're putting together, how are you considering this case closed? Like, not how, like, you're able to declare it closed whenever you want, but are you marking up anything of interest for future reference later, or is there anything you just happy to say that it's solved or verified?
Yeah, we were able to fact check this statement and pretty much conclude the things we saw, things we witnessed.
And as for evidence that you've documented, you've got pictures of the nest. You don't actually have the nest itself. You also have a bug. Are you going to enter Charles into evidence?
Charles and Charles II, both evidence.
Both of them. Okay. Lucian, how do you feel about that?
He is welcome to document that they are here and their existence continues. But Lucian will be their caregivers to ensure their continued existence.
I have to lock up at least one for evidence. And the one we found at Jiang's house.
They are both living creatures. Locking them up in evidence would kill them. This seems both unethical and immoral, which, while not a surprise coming from you, Zander, is not something I think our superiors would be comfortable with.
Well, when it passes, we can keep it as evidence. You can hold on to it for now.
You make it a certainty. Curious that you have such powers of prophecy.
They have to die eventually, right? It's a wasp.
Do they? Why?
Why? It's a living being. Don't we all die?
You yourself just asked the question.
You're right, I did ask the question.
So, because you have asked a question, you have underscored that it is an uncertainty.
Right, let's just wrap this up.
As long as Charles and Charles II are able to breathe.
Yes,
When
you make
rack
your case.
them,
So Zander is tired of the conversation and says that Lucian can hold on to them. It's a little unorthodox, but it's not a huge deal. You're all approved to pull evidence whenever it needs to be. So you can always file the paperwork, and then if Charles dies, put him into evidence later. Frieda, you head to the courthouse. You have to take a bus to get there. You have to cross a couple bridges. It's about a 20-minute trip. Lucian, yes?
would it be possible for Lucian to accompany his sister? He did
Absolutely.
notice that she was acting peculiar, and the sheer fact that she was not at work in a punctual manner was alarming.
So, Frieda, we'll say that you get up to the top of the stairs because you were rushed out, and you make it to the bus stop, which is just about a block or so away when Lucian catches up with you there.
Might we say that Lucian is already at the bus stop waiting for her?
How did you get to the bus stop first?
I walked quickly in through a alternative route. As you know,
For shits and giggles, give me a speed
I
test.
like to
Difficulty
explore
2.
dark places. I see.
That's true.
You are looking for a mechanical way to deny me a purely role-playing
Difficulty
moment.
2, and I know you're going to pull gymnastics.
I
You need a
have not
3 or better.
rolled. I have not rolled over the number 5 this entire campaign.
But a 5 would
dear.
be a success here.
Okie dokie. Gymnastics it is.
We have faith.
Would stealth
Well-
also apply?
Oh.
You can't lower it past difficulty 1.
Why?
Don't know. I'd have to ask Monty Cook.
But he is not here.
All right, so stealth applies. You have to get above a 2. 3 or better.
I rolled A
Look
16.
at that.
Nice.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Frieda, you are kind of in your own head, wondering what the hell's going on. You make it to the bus stop, and you see Lucien is already there, not even out of breath, just standing like he always does.
I
Probably
imagine she
motionless?
like she's not paying attention, and she walks up and she stands there and she realizes someone's here, and then she does like a double take when she realizes that it's Lucien, and she's like, "Shit! Hi."
Hello. You seem to be perturbed this morning.
It's been a weird morning. I thought I was going to be early, and then I found your old child's hat on like the foyer to my home, and then I sent you a picture, and then you never replied. And then when I get to work, it was like some little cowboy hat for a child, and it was your black beanie from when you were a little kid.
But I am wearing that beanie.
I know, which is why I thought it was weird. You never leave it, so I thought something was wrong with you. And then I was late.
You sent me the picture. What do you mean?
I texted it to you.
I have no need for smartphones.
I bought you one a while ago. Did you? You threw it away?
I do not throw things away. I pawn them for monetary gain.
As
so
long as
that
you're
I
eating.
I have no need for nourishment. But my Datsun cherry has need for fuel. So I spent it on the cherry.
I see. Weird that
Yes.
the text went through.
Perhaps you have texted a random stranger who purchased the phone from a pawn shop. Is that not curious?
That is curious.
What sort of picture was it? What sort of hat did you say it was?
And then at that point, she'll take out her phone and show him.
As soon as he says what sort of picture was it, your phone actually buzzes, the ping that you get when you have a text.
And she'll look at it.
It's from Lucien,
see.
or at least the number that you have associated with him.
This is
and
why
it's
I don't carry a phone. Because once you carry it, you are a slave to it. It makes noise and you must react. I shall not be bound in such a manner.
That is fair.
and it's just a smiling emoji, the big grin, the toothy grin.
Weird. And then she'll reply back, sorry, wrong number.
Who
But
are
at
you
that
talking
point,
to?
you can scroll up and you see the picture again. It is the picture of this children's cowboy hat.
Yeah, and she'll show Duchin.
Oh, that is from Toy Story.
Yeah, it did say it had like a tag. It was an older tag or something.
I see. Who is this person that you are messaging with this? What is this here?
I don't know.
And he is pointing at the emoji. What is this?
It's
Abomination to art.
These are emojis. And at this point, we're like getting on the bus or have been on the bus, and we're like,
Yeah, you're already crossing a couple canals
Yeah.
at this point. You're halfway to the courthouse.
Master of Games, I have a question for you.
I
Does
might have an
this
answer.
emoji resemble in any particular way the face that appeared on the dress that I found gifted to me last night?
No. So this emoji that just showed up
That's
is just a standard emoji.
Kind of sad. That
What
would have
you
been
saw
cool.
on the dress actually looked like an imprint of their actual face, as if their face was covered in paint, and then they pressed the fabric up to it and pulled it back.
Well, they're stupid. Don't use them.
Yeah.
They demonstrate that you have a below average intellect.
And at that point, she just kind of waves him off because this is normal, like Lucien stuff. And she goes, I did get an email that I reported as phishing to my email at work, and all it also had was just a smiley face in the subject line. Someone must have sold my contact information somewhere.
No, this is now 3 smiling faces to our family within the past 12 hours. I too found a smiling face, but it was done in a far more artistic manner. Most do not smile at me, so I noted it. Don't you think it's curious, Frieda, that when we were given a case about insects that one manifested in the office in which we work, and now here we're seeing the repetition of yet another symbol. We are seeing smiling faces here and there. Is that not curious to you?
It is unsettling. I agree.
Unsettling? No, it is quite settling. It's quite curious. Are you not intrigued by what this means? This could be a manifestation of some sort of psychic construct, a semi-autonomous thought form created by the collection of a community, and we, as the archivists, are our team in and of itself, our community. We are perhaps not so much discovering these things, yet dreaming them, thinking them into existence.
And as he says that, the bus lurches to a stop. This is your stop. So you get up, and Lucien may keep talking. As you get off the bus, you're directly in front of the courthouse. The bus stop is right there. You look up, though, and the courthouse has been vandalized. Where the letters courthouse were directly above the doors, the court has been pulled off entirely. You can see where the brick is lighter where the letters were, where they used to be, where it shielded them from UV and dirt. And in that place where the court was, you see that someone has been spray painting on this wall. There's this horizontal crescent, like a moon that's been tipped over. And the top line, that top curve, is painted so thick that the black paint began to drip, giving the impression of a toothy smile.
Do you see, sister? We are creating this. Perhaps
we are creating this, or are we being stalked?
Well, it is just one theory, of course. It's possible if we wanted to dive into Jungian psychology. Perhaps it is a manifestation of synchronicity. It is a series of coincidences that are signaling deeper meaning of some sort that we have not yet deduced. The hornet first, and now this smile. It is not a messenger of itself. It is the message. So what message could this be providing?
Would you even say
us?
It was the hornet first, or that man?
Ah, yes. Excellent point, sister. You are correct, yes. The case with the hornet came after, linearly speaking, of course, the first encounter with this smiling man.
And all of us, not just you and I, but all of us.
Yes, Naveen and Emily and the other one, yes.
Zander, yes. And at this point, we're in line waiting to get up there.
And from there, that's cut back to the three of you. We'll rewind time a little bit. Frieda has only just gone up the stairs. Emily went to the bathroom to put some medicine on her tooth. And Zander, you get a ping from your computer, an email. And this email is from Ludwig, your manager, who's just in the office behind you. Just sent you an email forwarding an attachment. It's an audio file. And the email itself reads, new statement came in. I want you to co-lead with Emily on this one. Let's get her some experience.
And I'll wait for it to return, and we'll play the file.
Okay. Emily, you come out a few minutes later. Naveen, perhaps because this audio file is being played, you wait a little bit before going to lunch. And you click play, and it's this staticky recording. It's not a very good microphone, but it begins. My name is Timo Donauer, and I'm dead. Not like, oh man, my wife is going to kill me, but like really dead. Here's the thing. I don't know who killed me. Knowing that won't save me. Nothing will. Why am I recording this? Justice? No, I don't think so. I just don't want to be some notation on some record in a file cabinet somewhere. A case file that gets tucked away and forgotten about. Someone should understand what happened to me. And that's why I'm sending this to you people and not the police, because they'll just assume I'm crazy. And they'll throw it all away. But you people, you know about this kind of thing. I'm using the voice recorder thing on my phone to record this while I lie here before I'm gone. But there's no way you'll read this before I die. That's why I'm saying all this like I'm already dead, because as far as you're concerned, I am. All right, then. I've been living near Nindorf on a farm that my family's held on to since my grandfather. You won't find my body, though. I don't think there will be anything left. I think that's how it works. I'm not a farmer. I really didn't spend much time here before a few weeks ago. This place had been boarded up and empty and for I don't know how many years, but I was homeless and out of cash and out of options, so I hitched out of there. I had to break a window to get in, but I do honestly own the place, so that's no crime. There's no one else in my family left to claim it. There's no electricity, but there's water, and about half the rooms were bare of furniture, but there was a little. I made the best of things I could. At least it was a roof over my head. I wasn't here more than a week, though, before I started hearing noises outside, and the house is way out there, so I figured it was just raccoons or something. Then one night I caught a glimpse of a person outside the house. There's a shed here, and they were rummaging through it. The first thing that came to mind when I saw this was that it was dark out there, no electricity, remember? But this person didn't have any light with them, and they seemed to have no problem rooting through all that junk with only the stars giving light. Obviously, I didn't get a good look at them. I couldn't tell you if they were big or small, male, female, anything, just a person shape. Anyway, I was scared. I stayed quiet and I hid in the house. Eventually, they were gone. A few hours passed, and then I finally got to sleep. The next day, I cleaned the mess they'd made and tried to close up the old shed, but the door wouldn't latch anymore, and I didn't care. While I worked at that, it felt like someone was watching me, but I couldn't see anyone. That night, though, I kept a nervous eye out. Sure enough, I saw someone in the yard again. I'm not embarrassed to say that I'd already pushed an old bureau against the front door and a heavy table against the back door in case they came back. When I heard the banging noise, I knew someone was trying to force the door. I wanted to get a look at them, so I crept into the front room and peered out the window, and it was an old man. Didn't look very frightening. Instead, he looked withered, frail. So I yelled out, "Get out of here, old man. This is my house. I've got a baseball bat and I'm calling the cops." He came to the window and he peered in. "The book," he croaked out. "Give me the book." "Go to hell, I don't have your book." And he left. I have no idea what he was talking about. I just had to hope he wouldn't come back. But he did. The next night, he just banged on the door and said very quietly, "Give me the book." And he did that for at least an hour, ignoring me when I yelled at him to get lost. For a minute, I thought there were 2 figures out there in the night, but my mind was playing tricks. Finally, the old codger left again. I didn't sleep that night. But after lying in the only bed still in the house, I got up, and in the light of my flashlight, I gathered up every single book I could find. A couple of old kids' books, a Bible, a book in Greek, holding up a broken leg of a couch. I even found some old Life magazines from who knows how long ago. I would have looked in the cellar, but I knew it was way too damp down there to keep any books, and if I'm being honest, I didn't really want to go down there in the middle of the night anyways. By morning's light, I piled them all up at the front stoop. Maybe he wouldn't come back, but if he did, maybe one of those books would satisfy him. He did come back, and they didn't satisfy him. He kicked those books into the weeds by the door and repeated his whispered demand. I holed up in the pantry off the kitchen because it had no exterior walls, blocked the door with a chair, and got some sleep. The next day I went outside. I didn't have a baseball bat, but I did have an old length of pipe I found in the shed. I figured I needed to confront him or I'd never get any real rest. Maybe he just needed to be scared. I searched all over the property. He had to be nearby, I figured. And if I was going to get physical with him, I wanted it to be in the light of day. I searched all that day, and by evening I reached the Goldbeck, a river about 2 miles from the farm. Once again, from time to time, I felt like someone was watching me, but I caught no sight of him, and I doubted anyone else was way out here. There was an old wooden shack on the riverbank, though, amidst some trees. It looked abandoned, but I wanted to check it out. I thought I saw movement inside and made a call out to warning. It's probably something like, "Hey man, I'm coming for you." You'd think after having all day to think of it, I'd have come up with something better. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I never got a chance to say anything. Just as I saw, I'm pretty sure I saw anyway, the old man's face in the window of the shack, I felt a slicing pain in my back. So much pain. I don't know if you've experienced that kind of thing, but it hurt so bad. And it took so much out of me that I didn't have the energy to cry out. It felt like someone behind me was reaching into my body and grabbing things and moving them and rearranging them. I blacked out. When I came to, I was back in the farmhouse, in the bed I'd been using. The pain returned every time I so much as moved, but I could only barely manage moving my arm. Otherwise, I was just sort of stuck. I didn't know how I got there, but it sure wasn't under my own power. The bed was soaked with blood. I called out, but there was no one, and I screamed my fool head off, but no one came. I think I passed out again, and when I woke up the next night, the bed was so soaked that it sort of sloshed. It wasn't just blood. The pain was a lot less, and I mostly just felt numb, like the nerves in my back had stopped working. I pulled my arm around and felt under me. I don't know why. I came away with not just blood, but something I wish I'd never seen. It was a pink and red sort of goop. I was liquefying. So now you get it, you see? I'm dead. Even now I can't move anything but my mouth, and even as I say that, my throat is clogged with, well, my throat. My teeth are coming loose. The back of my arms and legs stick to the bed. I'm not going to tell you about the smell. Please, if you can, figure out what this is and know that I'm not just some nameless... Oh, there goes another tooth. I didn't just disappear. Well, maybe I did, but... Or I will. Whatever. Somebody's got to know my story. And the audio statement ends there.
Well, Emily, what do you think?
Oh, what a and Emily's just sort of had this look on her face, has kind of been listening to this audio, and so what a terrible way to go. Oh, that's we have an address. It is possible that perhaps he is not dead just yet.
Well, you will take lead on this. We'll think on it over Venus. We'll head out to lunch.
Naveen, are you joining them for lunch?
I am.
And as you all get outside, Naveen, someone you're fairly familiar with, lights up. You leave St. Catherine's, and directly across the street is this parking garage. And this parking garage is just covered in spray paint, all sorts of like geometric shapes. You see like the golden ratio all over the place, and all sorts of different styles. It's very artistic, almost Banksy-esque. But the security guard that works at the parking garage, clearly not very good at his job because it is covered in spray paint, comes out. This Naveen, you know him. He's Albert. He's in his early 20s. He's studying economics at the University of Hamburg. He's pretty short, but he's got like a rower's build, like the wide shoulders, and this meticulously messy, dirty blonde hair. Like it's purposefully messy. And you see him, he's wearing this blue uniform, and he sees you come out, and he closes the gate on the parking garage and locks it behind him and just rushes across the street. Is it lunchtime already?
It is. I haven't seen you in ages. How have you been?
I've been right over there. You just need to come say hi.
Oh my god. I've been so busy. They had like a flooding at the office, so I haven't actually been in the office for the last couple of days, and that's why
crazy.
that's
Is
why
it
you haven't
bad?
seen me.
Is that why they have that fan out there? And like
yeah.
that ventilation
My
does
God,
come
it
out that
was-
side door.
It was just it was terrible. How are you? How's school? How's everything?
School is school. Crew's fun.
Awesome. Oh, I haven't introduced you. This is my friend Zander. This is my friend Emily. Zander actually plays soccer, not professionally, obviously, but like almost professionally. So this is Zander, who would be able to talk to you about rowing.
Oh, you like to row?
Yeah, every now and then. A friend of Naveen's.
Yeah. I work here at the garage, part time. Got to pay the bills, but it's fine. I get to study while I'm working. No one's gonna come in and out. It's fine. Let's
do
go
you
to
like-
lunch.
Do you like Venus?
Of course.
Then come.
You're gonna come with us. This
oh,
is so great.
Ooh, I forgot my wallet today. I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. I'll spot you.
Oh, you don't mind? I'll pay you
No,
back.
Of course not. No, don't be stupid. We'll figure it out. It's fine. Anyway, next time you could just lose a burger to me. It's not a big deal.
Oh, all right. The four of you go out to lunch then. Is this a productive lunch? Are you worried about doing any sort of research on the statement or anything like that? Or are you just taking a break?
I have a quick question, Stephen, and I
Yeah.
should remember this. Was Emily the one that got the business card for Miles?
Yes, you were.
Okay. So I'm thinking that maybe as we're walking and Emily and Naveen is introducing Zander to this person, I would say Emily's not necessarily paying attention because she's thinking about we're going out to lunch and Lucian and Frieda aren't here to go to lunch because they're at the courthouse. And I think that finally kind of triggers for her. And so if Naveen is kind of going to introduce Emily to this young man, she's kind of going through her bag a bit. And she wants to pull out the business card.
Mm-hmm. And the card got partially ruined in the flood, but it still very clearly says Miles and House. The court is smeared off almost in like a curve, like it was cheap ink.
Emily will take out her phone, take a picture of the business card, and she's going to text it to Frieda. And it's going to be like, OMG, I totally forgot. I got this business card this morning. Before it got ruined in water, it said Miles Mueller, Courthouse. And so she's going to text to Frieda the picture of the business card.
All right. We'll say that happens around the time that Frieda's standing there, but Frieda will come back to you in a second. So back to the other question then. Is this a productive lunch or is this just a break for you all?
I think for Naveen, it's a bit of a break because she's just enjoying being with Albert and just like chatting.
Zander, Emily, you two are co-leads on this case. How productive are you two feeling?
I'll let enemy take point.
So, yeah, I mean, Emily would, she notices that because Zander didn't present it as co-lead, Zander just sort of presented it to Emily as if she's leading this. So,
which is big for you too. It's your first time.
Yeah. And so she's going to get, maybe a soup or something that she can kind of like be on her phone while she's eating, kind of a thing. So she will dive right in and let the three have their conversation. But she's definitely trying to figure out the location of the family farm and where they're at. And she's, may urge them along fairly quickly. And Emily would also update Frieda as well that we have a new statement when they're done at the courthouse.
So if you start doing some research, you don't have a ton to go off of other than the rural town, which is about an hour south west of Hamburg, and the name Timo Donauer. Googling the name doesn't really come up with much. That's not to say you couldn't find anything if you dig deeper, but a cursory like cell phone search isn't quite going to pull anything out.
Okay.
You do know that the farm is located in a town, and you know the family name, and he says that it's been located in his family since his grandfather's. Also, not necessarily the type of information you could get off a phone, but at a like administrative building like a courthouse, we'd possibly be able to pull some records if you can grease some palms.
Okay. So Emily's going to be that annoying person that is sending like 1,000 texts in a row. Like it's not one message. It's like each little thing individually. Because then after a couple minutes of kind of Google searching on her phone, she'll be like, oh, also, while you're there, see if you can find anything about the Donauer family farm. And she'll give the name of the town. Yeah.
While you are spending the time searching, let's get at least one check here. Let's call this an intellect, and it'll be difficulty 3.
All right. I'll spend 1. I'll spend 2.
You're spending 2 points to get 1 bit of effort, which beats difficulty 4. Did you have anything else you were using at the same time, like a skill or anything?
I don't have anything that would be relevant, but I do have an edge in intellect.
So that's why you only have to spend the 2 points instead of 3
that's
to
right.
use it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
16.
16. Wow. Beats difficulty 5. Excellent. Fantastic. So there's not much you can get from a smartphone. This whole family doesn't seem like they're very online, which makes sense. If they're out rural farmland, like social media is not exactly going to be an integral part of their lives.
Yeah,
they're
not posting to Insta every meal.
Yes, exactly. The only hit you get on the name Timo Donauer is actually an obituary for a man named Hans Donauer, who passed away 15 years ago. And it is said that he's survived by his son, Rolf, and his son, Timo.
Interesting. And so because she wants to be showing that she's doing good things, oh, okay. And this is the dad was Rolf, and there's a brother. And what was the brother's name?
Timo, who is the one who did the audio recording.
Right, but there was another son.
Rolf was the other son.
Oh, sorry. Rolf was the brother, and the dad was
Hans.
Hans. Sorry. Okay. Okay.
No
So
worries.
there's a father. He was Hans, and there's a brother, Rolf. Okay. All right. Off to a good start. Texted Frieda again. Try to get some information there. Okay. And then she like did a good 5 minutes, so she goes back to her soup.
And you did really good on that test. We'll just say that you also Google Rolf Donauer after searching that name, and you'll find an obituary for him as well. That he also died about 8 years ago.
Oh.
And that one just says that he's survived by his brother Timo.
Oh, that's very sad. Both. And she's like saying this to Zander and Naveen, who are not paying attention. They're engrossed in conversation, but she's looking for.
No, if you were talking to Naveen, she's absolutely paying attention. Like she's like.
Albert would be happy to ask questions too.
You're going through the statement.
Yes. Yes. So I know who owned the farm. He passed away, and he was survived by 2 sons. And then I looked up the other brother, and he also passed away. So
I'm so sorry, Emily. I thought we were just having lunch. I would have helped you if you were like, if I knew you were going through this stuff now.
Oh, it's okay. Zander said that I need to take lead on this one, so that's what I'm doing.
You've never been lead on an archive thing before. That's so exciting. Oh, okay, that is very
congrats!
exciting.
That's awesome. I do a lot of studying at the school. If you need me to like search, I mostly do economics. This is like the really like creepy stuff, right? Like
Albert's
this is where like really
smart though. If
really
we
scary stuff
ever
happens.
need any help, Albert is super smart.
I do okay. I love horror stories too. I watch all sorts of movies. Like I watched The Exorcist just actually this morning on my shift.
That's Emily's just sort of kind of looking at Naveen as he's talking. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, I know all sorts of possession stuff. So like if there's anything like in that department that you need, like the Book of Common Prayers and stuff, I can help you out.
But what's the Book of what is
like
that book?
the thing that Catholics have where it's like, the Hail Marys and all that stuff and the Lord's Prayer. I haven't actually read it. I just know that there's like a lot of prayers in there that the Catholics use.
Okay.
And I think that's where the exorcisms are too.
Okay. I don't think this is going to be an exorcism. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one's not going to be an exorcism. But
if
it comes out,
I mean, mainly that book thing, because the statement had like books. So,
yes,
maybe, but like I don't know. Maybe it has to with exorcism, but maybe it doesn't. But if it does, I know where to find you.
Yeah, I'm just right across the street.
And Emily looks to Naveen, and Naveen will be able to find you as soon as we think that might be something we need. And Emily's sort of looking to Zander for a little, like, off to a good start.
I've got one thumbs up, half a wiener in my mouth.
And Emily will text another update to Frieda with like what's been learned so far. So she is spamming Frieda's phone.
All right. So Zander is just Agent Papa's right now. Just get me to Utah. And Frieda and Lucian, we will cut back to you. You have gone inside this courthouse, house now as it's been vandalized. And you've got texts coming in nonstop from Emily, telling you to search things about Donauer family, among other things. You are standing in line, and this isn't the type of like line where there's a long line. You have to go through a back hallway to get to the records archivist. You probably know this area pretty well, like you've been here before. And in fact, you would know that the administrator on duty is a woman named Liesel. She's probably about mid-50s or so. She's very, very friendly, but she does have rules and restrictions about what sort of information she is allowed to give out. And normally there are fees associated with the information she does give out as well. You come up to the desk and you see her working there, and she looks up and she's got lightish hair. It looks like it was brown. It's starting to gray, and she's kind of dyeing it a blonde to go with that lighter look to complement the way her color's already going. She's dressed very conservatively, and she just lights up seeing you, Frieda. She probably doesn't know Lucian as well. Lucian, how often would you say you come to the courthouse?
I often come to the courthouse.
Okay, so she knows both of you.
I do not often go inside of the courthouse.
Okay, so she just knows Frieda.
She knows my work.
Are you the one who ruined the sign?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
She lights up seeing you. Is it safe to say she knows you by name too?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Frieda, well, welcome. It's always a pleasure when you come in.
As well, it's so good to see you. Your hair is looking lovely.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I just got it done. Yours looks beautiful as well. What can I do for you?
And that's when she pulls out her phone, and it's work. As you can see, I have quite a few requests for today. I'm seeing the death certificate of Tom Jiang.
That is very unfortunate. Okay, death certificates. That's not too difficult to get.
Yes. And
Anything
then
else?
to be, proactive. Also, I'm seeking the one of Hans Donner, as well as his son Ralph Donner.
Okay. Are they connected?
Separate
Redeaths.
cases. Separate cases that we just need for files. And then just any information, public information that you have on the Donner farm, and she'll rattle off the address that Emily gave her.
This is a bit more difficult to get, but well, work, you know? I feel like I don't get enough date nights with my husband. And there's been this state opera, Wagner's Parsifal is coming on soon, and it's so hard to get tickets.
It is certainly hard. I could see if I could.
Your friend Naveen? Was it?
Yeah, she's actually very good about getting tickets. I could see if she's heard of this.
Oh, would you? It will take me a few minutes to pull the Z files, anyways.
Yeah, let me give her a call, and I'll let you know.
That would be so great. I will be right back. And she goes and she makes sure that she kind of rushes to the back room to be out of earshot while you make the call.
Yeah, and she doesn't actually call, but she does text Naveen because she knows Naveen's always got her phone on her. And she's like, hey, conflict with getting the info, need tickets to blah, blah, blah. Can you hit up your friend?
And Naveen will, yeah, totally. 2 minutes. And that's what she replies.
Naveen, let's call this a speed test for fun. You're going to be able to get tickets from your friend, but it's how soon you can get it. Let's call this a difficulty 3. If you pass, it'll be immediate. If you fail, then it'll take a little bit more time.
Okay, so I wonder, because I would like to use this for something that only kind of matters. But I'd love to use some of my ciphers. And
okay.
I don't know if I think I want to use curiosity. Which
all right, and what does that one do?
You reflect on excellence, adding 1 to your you said speed, not intellect.
This could be intellect. I Intellect is about persuasion. Speed is more about agility. I said speed because we were doing time, but it could be intellect. It's not crucial, so I'm happy to change that.
If you're okay to do that, I have
not a
a Cypher which gives me 2 to my intellect edge. And I have persuasion, which I'm trying
All right. So with the 2 on the intellect edge, that means you can spend 1 point of intellect to give yourself effort, which will ease the task by 1. So I said difficulty 3. That means it'll be difficulty 2. That means that you need to roll a 6 or better.
Okay. On persuasion or just straight intellect?
Persuasion would work as well, which would ease it by 1 more task.
Amazing.
So you're rolling a straight d20. You just roll your intellect, but you're gonna, with the 2 eases, you only need a 3 or better.
Okay. Oh, I think I rolled. Okay, I got a 15. Finally fucking rolling well.
So you text your friend Amelia, Wagner's Parsifal State Opera ? And you don't even get a yes or no. You just get like a QR code immediately sent back, like a link to 2 of these tickets for tomorrow night.
I will immediately forward to Frieda.
So Frieda, you send this to Naveen, and within 30 seconds, you have another ding as another text comes through.
And she'll say to Amelia, "You're the best. Love you."
Yeah.
Get it reacted with a heart emoji.
Frieda sends that to you as well as she forwards this over to what was her name?
Liesel.
Liesel.
So she's still in the back room. You have a couple minutes. Your phone is pinging a couple times. Lucian, what are you doing during all this?
I am standing very still.
All right. Continue standing still as Liesel comes back. And she pops her head out the door, and she kind of like looks to and she lingers for a moment looking at you, Frieda.
Yes.
Well, I was able to find the death certificates about the others, well.
I sent you the tickets. I texted them to you.
Oh, sorry, I did not have my phone. Is this? And she pulls out. She was carrying both files right there, and she just walks out. And she puts them in front of you. That will be just a €30 court fee.
Yeah, and Frieda's already counted or figured it out and has it ready to pay.
And you get a receipt, knowing that if you want to be reimbursed for that, you'll also have to bribe someone else for permission there. You say goodbye to Liesel there. You get these death certificates. You've got Tom's. It lists traffic collision as the cause of death there, like blunt trauma, essentially, from that. You don't see anything suspicious that doesn't really align with the rest of the statement that you've had. As for Hans and Rolf Donauer, both appear to have died from natural causes. Rolf was fairly young, but he wasn't outrageously young that it was not possible. It seems that it was cardiac arrest.
They both on the property?
We'll say that Rolf's death certificate would be listed as yeah, actually, it would have been on the property. So they would both have the same sort of township, the district that they were in. Yes, Lucian.
Does it list how their remains were dispersed with? Cremation, burial?
Hans was listed as burial. Rolf was listed as cremation.
Okay, and you said they both passed as some sort of cardiac event?
That was what was listed for Rolf. Hans, it says natural causes. You look at it, and he was 86 years old.
Oh, yeah, and they won't look past that unless inquired. Okay.
Does the certificate for Rolf list a particular medical examiner?
Yeah, it would absolutely have a medical examiner for him because he was younger. It would be someone in the Sella district where Ninford is.
Lucian will make a mental note. Also of the location of the burial, if such a thing is noted.
The location of the burial is not noted.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Perhaps
I
you
am
should
sure.
look again.
I look again. It is not noted.
The death certificate
Nindorf, not Ninford, sorry.
lists that the body was buried, but it does not identify where it was buried.
That is correct.
That is quite peculiar.
It is peculiar. Yeah, I'll give you that. That is very strange.
Because according to this, it is possible they buried him in a field, or on his farm, or in the sand, or anywhere, because it is not listed.
We could, if he's like talking aloud like he normally does, Frieda will say, we could look for a family plot if we do visit the grounds.
Yes.
We'll say that we fast forward a little bit. Frieda and Lucian, you ride the bus back. Maybe you grab food on the way back, something quick. Lucian probably doesn't need nourishment. I see the hand there. What were you going to say, Lucian?
You have attributed my thought properly.
I don't want to play your character for you, so I'm sorry if I overstep there.
That would be the first time.
How do you say nothing and still troll me so much? Okay. We'll say that Naveen, Zander, Emily, you get back to the Institute. You kind of have to shake Albert at the door. Like, he doesn't want to go into the church, but he does like follow, and he keeps talking, and he just kind of like lingers and continues talking as you step further and further away until finally you're out of earshot and he goes back wherever he was before. You do see that there were a couple cars that were parked outside of the parking garage that was locked. Like, they just parked in front of the doors because they couldn't get in. But he didn't seem too concerned about it. The five of you meet up. You share your information. Frieda, you're able to look over the property records of the Donauer property that you got. And it is a farm that covers about 2 hectares, about 50 acres, in a very rural area of the Sella district. It's registered to Hans Donauer. He passed away 15 years ago. His son, Rolf, inherited the property. It appears that he did not occupy it, but he just lived nearby.
When Emily sees Lucian and Frieda, she's going to say, did you perhaps see Mr. Miles when you were at the courthouse?
No,
We did not have the opportunity. Time fast forwarded for us. There's been weird temporal behavior happening. Zeitverlust, you might call it chronic or chrono displacement. Perhaps we will go again sometime and speak with him directly.
Very weird. Speaking of Miles from the courthouse, did any of you get an email from him this morning?
Not that I recall.
Go to my computer and check that.
Nothing.
I got a blank email from a Miles at the courthouse. And like in the subject line, it was just a smiley face emoji.
What was the name of the man again? What was his name?
Miles Mueller was the name of the man on the card. See, and she'll show Lucian the business card. She texted it to Frieda, knowing that Frieda had the smartphone, and she'll show Lucian the business card.
Frieda.
It got wet.
If you rearrange the letters, And Miles, you get Smile.
Oh. And at that, like, Frieda does kind of frown. Not like your idea was bad, but just this is creepier than she anticipated it being today.
Do not condescend to me, sister.
No. Is it a stalker? That's my concern now.
It is unlikely to be a stalker. You said yourself all of us were visited by some strange man who smiled. And that we have seen a preponderance of smiles recently. And now this Miles Mueller, who may or may not be Smiles Mueller. I'm not sure I'm working out that, but it had a smile in the subject line. We are being taunted, I think.
Did I get any additional text messages from the number?
Not after that last emoji.
She'll reply again and ask, is this Miles Mueller?
So you previously sent sorry, wrong number or something like that after the smile came in. And then you send it again. There's no dots that pop up. It doesn't say read. It just says sent. Maybe they're not on their phone right now.
You should reply to the email. And
I reported it as phishing already because it was a blank email.
Oh, that's and Emily, I don't, yeah. Emily may not check her emails a lot regularly. That's a thing that we're supposed to do. Interesting.
If it seems like a scam or odd, yes.
Okay. Well, so what did we want to do now? And she's sort of looking to Zander like that should be the question that the person leading this should ask.
Yes, don't let this Miles Smiles man distract us from our case. Emily's leading this one.
Frieda, that's a little bit of a blow because you and Zander are the most senior archivists, and Emily is one of the newest ones, and you've not had a lead case in a long time.
Yeah, I don't think Frieda will say anything. She'll just go into the archives and she just kind of nods and then goes back into the archives and she won't come out for a while. She's going to be looking for anything on the dawn hours as well as Dr. Malloy and pull up anything with that or of that hospital that he's at.
Okay.
Just she's getting a lot of information.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and get from everyone what they're doing and then we'll go through and resolve it. So Frieda's going through the archive specifically looking for information on the dawn hour and Dr. Malloy. Naveen, what would you be looking for?
I want to just figure out sort of our best way to get there.
Okay, it wouldn't. You have the address of the property now, so you'd be able to easily Google Maps that. It's about an hour if you don't take the highway, about 45 minutes if you take the highway. Okay. There's going to be about 15 minutes of country roads that you have to travel down no matter what.
Okay. I don't even know how I would go about that then. But you know what? Can I just read that statement again one more time and you can come back to me?
Yeah, no worries. There, you should be able to see it. Zander.
Thank you.
What are you looking for?
Let's see. Is all like the preparation we make, like item-wise, equipment-wise, is that kind of locked in already? Or is that something we can add to?
You can absolutely bring extra things. For the most part, you're kind of locked into, well, whatever you have on your character sheet when you created your character is what you're assumed to have at all times. Okay. If you are specifically trying to prepare in some way and it's easy to get, that's not going to cost anything to get. If it's a little bit harder to get, like industrial strength pesticides, that would probably require a check to do.
Then maybe I'll use like a Cypher here because I have Watcher's know-how and it gives me, I know where to look or who to ask to find significant information. and the GM can find informations when they start research.
Okay.
Searching for
What
clues.
information are you looking for, though?
Good question. Since we know the location already, that's not too hard to figure out.
Yeah, you know the location exactly. You can even pull it up on Google Maps and look at the satellite image.
Maybe listening to the recording, if you can pick up anything like in the background, not just him talking.
Okay. You may not need a cipher for that, but we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Emily, what would you be looking to pursue?
Emily had kind of gotten a jump start already on some things. So I would say that Emily is kind of just organizing the notes, information thus far, kind of putting together the death certificates and everything that Frieda had gathered. So I would say at this point, she's kind of delegating, like other people on the team are kind of doing what they're doing, and she's just sort of getting everything organized at this point.
Okay. Sounds good. Lucian, what are you doing?
Lucian will focus very heavily on the fact that this old man wanted a book of some kind. And although the specific book was not referenced, he might begin to do research, perhaps, into some sort of relevant tomes, history that might be about the area of Nindorf, or cross-referencing perhaps with the Darnauer family to see if there's any sort of stories about texts or books or of some sort, a scholar perhaps in their family lineage, this sort of thing.
Okay, sounds good.
I would love to support on that if I might, because that was sort of where my mind had gone to
perfect.
as well. Is that book?
Absolutely. Let's start with Emily then. You were really focusing more on collating, but you were going over the statement one more time, perhaps making a transcription of it because it was an audio statement, so having a text file would be convenient. Give me an intellect test, difficulty 2. This is just something minor that you're possibly going to notice.
Okay. I will keep spending that. So I'm spending 2.
To give yourself effort. Unfortunately, still rolled a 2. We are not in
rolled
horror
a
mode, though, so that is
2.
not a GM intrusion.
Yuck. Oh.
So perhaps just the grossness of it. You said Emily was not feeling good listening to it a second time, knowing that it's coming.
Yeah,
just
for sure.
It makes you feel uneasy.
And she's almost overdoing like all of the insertions of all of the coughing and all of those kinds of things. So she's kind of focused on the wrong stuff.
Gotcha. All right. Then Zander, you said you wanted to listen to it again, specifically for anything that might be in the background. We'll call this, if you want to use your Cypher to find someone who would like be an audio expert, you can. I don't think you'll pick up a lot from that, though. I want to just be fair because it's like a phone recording. If you want to listen to it yourself, then it'll be difficulty 4.
What skill?
I'm sorry, intellect.
Yeah, I'm terrible at that, so I'll send it out with my Cypher because I might as well use Cyphers.
So we'll say you burn the Cypher, you send it out to an audio expert. Hopefully someone you trust. Is this someone you've used before, perhaps?
Yeah, this is a known expert in the field. Talk to, send out a couple files to him.
Is this like a company that you are like subcontracted to, the Magnus Archives, or is this a friend of yours?
Can have it as part of subcontract.
Okay. So this is like a formal request that you're putting through. You fill out the appropriate paperwork and things like that. You burn the Cypher. And because you burn the Cypher, they give you the information it said, right?
Let's see. So the GM will provide options for that. Yeah, it's pretty much options that I can choose between. And like,
Watchers know how, right?
Yeah. Mm.
You know where to look and who to ask to find a significant piece of information. The GM might provide multiple options. So they provide the information. Yeah. Okay. It'll take a couple hours to get back. We'll say by the afternoon, you get a report back, say you had it expedited or something. There is likely a bit of a informal reprimand, like a content warning would be appreciated next time. Something along those lines. But it doesn't seem like it's anything that's going to get you in trouble immediately. And the thing you'll get back is that it sounds that there is as if it's on a cattle farm, as if there is braying or mooing in the background of a bull. There is a sloshing of liquids, as if whoever recorded this was in a tub, but whoever listened to this knows the contents of it, and they're just trying to, you can tell they're just trying to make an excuse for what that liquid might be. As far as any other people in the room, it comes up negative for having any sort of other breathing or anything that sounds as if it would be in the room with him. So it seems as if he would be alone. Do you have any more specific question I might be able to answer?
I don't have anything specific at the moment. If I think of something, I'll let you know.
Okay. Frieda, let's jump to you. You kind of have two things that you're trying to search for here.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and get 2 checks from this.
Sure.
For the don't hours, intellect difficulty 2.
Okay, and I have researching.
That would absolutely ease this.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna roll researching. I think I did that.
GM intrusion is what it comes up.
Oh, you rolled a 1.
All right, a nat 1. GM intrusion. What would be a good GM intrusion here? As you're trying to, we'll say that you start accessing a. No, actually, I'm going to roll this over to your next one. I'm going to hold on to this GM intrusion for just a little bit.
Okay.
Or when it really screws you over.
You search these archives, and there is nothing that comes up about the don't hours. Nothing in the slightest that they've never been cross-referenced in another statement or anything like that. You feel very certain of this. You're a researcher. You know every place to look. They are not in the Magnus archives.
Okay.
When you go to search for Dr. Malloy,
should I do a
that's
second
when
roll or no?
I'm using the GM intrusion right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you that this is going to be an automatic fail. You can spend an XP if you want to buy off the GM intrusion. Normally it's when I offer you a GM intrusion, but I'd allow it here. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you it's an automatic fail.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why.
I'll spend one.
Okay.
Spend it.
So you start going through the archives, and there's nothing in the physical archives, nothing in the files. But as you start using the computer to go through the digital files, the GM intrusion is that there is a flag on all searches related to Dr. Malloy. And you are able to see this. You're able to see this flag, as in if someone makes a search, it's going to immediately send a message to your supervisor, Ludwig. You see this, and because you buy it off, you're able to go into. You're one of the head researchers here, so you know the system better than anyone. You're able to disable that flag while you do a search on him, and then you'll be able to turn the flag back on. Essentially, Ludwig is watching for anyone that searches for Dr. Malloy right now, likely because he had that same file that you did, and he thinks that you were hiding it from him, so he wants to just keep tabs on that.
Gotcha.
So because you spent it off, you still get the chance for the roll. It's going to be difficulty 4 here.
Okay. But researching brings it down or no?
Researching definitely brings it down to 3.
To 3. Okay. Please, God.
There you go. Major effect. All
Okay.
right,
Phew. Really followed by a
yes.
nat 20.
look at that.
Oh yes.
The dichotomy of a woman.
You find a file on Dr. Harold Malloy, but it's not quite what you expect. It's not anything about him being incarcerated or anything like that. In fact, it's listed to a night from 1999, October 31st. A young boy, Harold Malloy, was among several children that they got into a fight with a group of bullies, town bullies, it sounds, and one of the children went missing and never came back. There's very scarce details. There's conflicting stories on what happened. Looking at this information later, you're able to Google Dr. Malloy, and that's where you get all sorts of different coverage. And it comes up with newspaper headlines: unholy matrimony, newlywed killer, psychiatrist murders at least 6 couples on their wedding night. Dr. Harold Malloy has been incarcerated for life due to mass murder. You start reading some of these details. They were very carefully and cautiously planned. I'll say with the major effect, there is a photograph of that was tied to the file from the kids. Dr. Malloy was obviously not one of them missing. There's question of whether he's the one who killed the child that went missing, even as a child. If someone's a serial killer, there's a chance that they did it younger. Obviously, they don't know if the child's dead. They just went missing. The photograph is of a young boy named Rowan Johnson and his sister Stephanie Johnson. And Rowan Johnson is in this Toy Story costume on Halloween. You see a red cowboy hat with white lace on it.
And you said this is 1999.
Correct.
And the tag on the hat that she has was also from 1999.
The 90s-ish.
Or yeah. Oh, that's stressful. Okay. Yeah, so she'll just spend the rest of her time. She's essentially printing out every article that she found from a trusted source. She's making note of rumors from less proven sources, but, worth checking out or colluding.
With this major effect as well, you'll also find pictures from the newspaper articles of Malloy recently when he was arrested. You see a picture of him. He looks deranged and confused. He's got tousled hair and a beard that looks like it's overgrown, as if he's just not cared to manage it in forever. He looks very physically unassuming, as if he couldn't accomplish any of the demanding physicality that would have been required for the things attributed to him. A lot of tabloids say that he was a fall man, like a homeless vagrant, but you go through and you find that he was actually a licensed psychiatrist in the United States. Like he has all the paperwork for that. You have a major effect here. In this picture of him looking deranged and confused, he's wearing this white dress over what appears to be like regular office clothes. The office clothes are very disheveled. He's got a tie that's like loosely wrapped down. It looks as if he'd never changed clothes for months. It almost looks comical. And this white dress is splattered with what appears to be blood, and there's this large softball-sized hole in the torso.
Ugh. So as she's coming back from the archives, she'll kind of make her way more over towards Lucian, and she'll show what she's found so far. And she's like, look, he's wearing the same costume as the hat that I found this morning. And then here's him as like an adult. And she'll just kind of be.
Malloy was not wearing the children's costume, though. The
no,
costume. That was the one who went
other
missing.
kid. Sorry,
Gotcha.
Rowan.
Yeah.
Who was, potentially killed by Malloy. And now, here's this picture of Malloy in this like white dress. And she just kind of sounds confused as she's setting it down. And as she's handing other articles over for him to look at of like his crimes and things that he's done. And she's like, I just don't understand what would have prompted Shirley to interview this man.
Lucian, if he is allowed, would look very carefully at the dress that is being referenced to see if it looks familiar to him.
Every splatter of blood is in the exact same place. Every stain matches up perfectly. The only difference is that painted black face is not in the picture of Dr. Malloy.
Lucian will reach into his back pocket and he will pull out the dress because he has been carrying it in his back pocket. And because he is a very slender man, there is room. And then he will unfurl it in front of Frieda, his sister, and he will say, Sister, it seems both you and I have been given an item from this time. The question is not just why, but particularly who. Is it perhaps Shirley or some agent of Shirley who's delivering these items? However, mine was delivered with a face of a smiling man. And the message as well. And the man did not look like Shirley. Probably not. Not entirely sure. I don't recall Shirley.
Shirley is not a man, so that's one step.
Right, but she could still look like... Never mind. But you see, it's very peculiar.
Yeah, no, I agree. And at this point, you watch as she kind of frantically goes over and she busts open her suitcase, and she's got this just very industrial looking camera that she takes out, and she quickly takes the dress over to like an empty table that we may have. She lays it out. She takes pictures of it. And then when she's finished, she takes like an empty box that we have and sets it aside. And then she also goes and digs in her trash for the hat, and she'll take pictures of that as well and also add that to the box.
Absolutely. This type of thing would be very standard practice for you to be able to document evidence and things like that. So you're able to go through those procedures, no problem. Everyone else would be able to see this as well, though. Like, these are close quarters. Like, you all work very tightly together if someone wants to question this.
What is all this, Frieda? It's related?
Not to the Dürers, no. This is the Dr. Malloy case.
The one...
We are the Dürers. It is very much related to us. Sorry. Continue.
The one Ludwig found of you. Of Shirley's. Oh, okay.
So this is not for the dawn hour statement.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, it's not for the dawn hours.
So,
we are not certain of that. We do not understand the connectivity between what we are working on and what we have discovered.
This could be the Miles Smiles situation. Might be where all of us are connected.
And it could be kind of like one of those situations where serial killers enjoy taunting the police. We aren't the police per se, but they do like to give the police puzzles because they want to be caught. So I wonder if maybe that is why these things are being left upon our doorstep, so to speak.
Are you saying that someone wants to kill us all?
I hope not, but
Emily's so
I think
little taken
Emily-
aback, and you're like, I mean, maybe rather not. I don't know.
Emily is probably
maybe.
the most used to like Frieda's serial killer talk because we do like the hunt a killer thing. So
That's
like,
right.
yeah, you just know that like if she can, Frieda will kind of relate it to this kind of like horrible circumstance of victimology.
Yeah, I let's well, perhaps when you're done with the pictures, perhaps we can go. Naveen, you were working us up a map to get there quickly, right?
So Naveen and
that
Lucian,
was
you were
easy
going to.
enough. I'm sorry, Stephen.
No, you're fine. Let's rewind just a little bit. We're going to have another temporal anomaly where the two of you were going to try to do some research on the books that might possibly have been found with Donauer and stuff like that. So,
Yes.
Lucian, you said you were taking point, and Naveen, you were helping. I know you have abilities that help when you help
I do.
because you help your friends.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and get an intellect test on this. This is going to be a little bit more difficult. It's going to be difficulty 5.
So I'd like to call out ahead of time that I am offering my friendly help, which is if he fails on this, can reroll.
And
With my
just
help.
the fact that you're helping as well will lower the difficulty down to 4. Ease it.
Sweet.
I also have trained the ability researching.
100% applies. So that lowers it to difficulty 3.
Would occultism, philosophy, or religion be appropriate here?
I'll take occultism. Lowers it down to difficulty 2.
Then I will spend 2 points from my intellect pool, since I have an edge of 1 to reduce it to a difficulty of 1,
Nice.
which,
All right.
because you are a very rules-oriented person, is as low as the difficulty can go.
Take it up with Monty Cook.
If he was here, I have many questions for him.
I would too.
Hello,
All right.
can you go? Not below 1.
So you need a 3 or better here because you're easing it 4 times along with
I've
your
rolled
effort.
a 1.
Oh no!
You get that reroll.
Oh
You-
yes, right.
Oh,
Get
you
the
do get a
reroll.
reroll. Even on an intrusion, you get the reroll.
I rolled a 14.
There.
Look at that, Naveen. My Trey rolled the 14. Jeff rolled the 1.
And it's not much more complicated than just like inspiring encouragement. I think what she considers inspiring encouragement, which is, I used to think that we'd be saved by the escaped like superhero, but like maybe it's a genius in a beanie that's gonna rescue us. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to what you find. It's gonna be great.
And
You know-
Lucian,
Excuse
go
me.
ahead.
I would like to respond to this. That is a very interesting theory. Now, certainly it is possible that those 2 things could potentially rescue us, but I am more interested in what exactly we are being rescued from, and more precisely why we are not capable of rescuing ourselves. For is not self-actualization something that we should practice? We have agency over our fates, do we not?
We absolutely do. And just slaps him. This is why.
Ow.
This is why I think you're
Careful.
a genius in a beanie, Lucian.
Well, I am. Be careful. That spot is very raw. I
Oh, sorry.
injured it last evening. Yes.
Oh, what happened? I had such a strange evening too, but I think it was just a bad day and like a bad Molly. And I don't know. I wanted to talk to Emily better, but Zander was there. And like, you don't want to tell your boss that you do club drugs, but
Zander is not our boss.
uh,
He is just.
he's like sort of our boss.
He has seniority, but he has no authority. That is the difference.
I guess. What? But like, you hurt your shoulder yesterday. What happened?
a series of numbers appeared in my mind, and I felt a compulsion to record them, so I carved them into a certain portion underneath my shoulder blade.
Oh. That's something you usually do?
Yes,
Does that hurt? It sounds like
Yes.
it would hurt.
yes.
Oh. You'll have to show me sometime because I am curious, but
He takes his shirt off. He is
And what do we see, Lucian?
extraordinarily thin. You'll see his bones and a bit of his skin, and you'll see numerology everywhere on every rib, across every bone. He has carved something into him. He has no tattoos that you would call tattoos. Instead, they are his creations spiraling around him. Some are very old and have scarred over. Others are more recent and have scabbed, and still more are very red and recent, as in the last day or more.
she reaches up her hand like she's about to touch it, and then she kind of catches herself. And
Careful.
that really looks. That looks really painful.
No, it is fine.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Okay.
pain is the body's way of letting you know that you are alive. Yes,
No, I'm not sure I agree. But
oh,
you're,
Well.
like I said, very smart. So if I just want to make sure you're okay, because it looks like it hurts.
I am fine. Pain is no barrier to me. And he puts his shirt back on inside out.
The two of you are doing
I'm
research
happy to move to the books.
into Hans Donauer and possibly any sort of strange books. Lucian, because you used occultist, I think it's safe to say that you've been to more rare bookshops than most people, looking for all sorts of antiques and books that just may not be for the mass market. Perhaps you call one of these stores, asking a shopkeeper that you've met before for records. Someone who's willing to oblige you because you easily passed here. And after several calls, you get an answer that a long time ago, about 30, 40 years ago, the previous owner of the bookshop has these records of a man named Hans Donauer who would come in quite often. The most recent book he bought, again, 30, 40 years ago, is called The Bone Turner's Tale. You can get a description of it. It's a thick black paperback written in English. No author is attributed. And it follows the pilgrims in the Canterbury Tales and their interactions with a newly introduced pilgrim, the Bonesmith. And those interactions usually turn grisly. How the shopkeeper acquired this book is a strange story itself. There was a man named Zachariah Easton who essentially pawned the book. He needed money short term, and he was not able to raise the funds again to get it back. So they ended up selling it to Hans Donauer.
I would like to have Lucian ask if this is related to the book of Catholic whatever that Albert mentioned.
The Book of Common Prayer.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.
No.
Would like to ask if this has any relation to that.
Lucian, does it have any relation to that?
In the broadest of senses, since one has to do with the Canterbury Tales and what is the Book of Common Prayer for Catholicism, So certainly there are certain thematic overtones as they come from a central origin. But more deeply, I would ask you, Game Master.
The Book of Common Prayer is literally just like a reference book. It's basically a hymnal, but prayers instead of hymns. It's very, very common in the Catholic Church, and there's nothing that has anything to do with exorcisms or occultism of any kind in the Book of Common Prayer.
Okay.
Perhaps not overtly, but Catholicism itself is a very mystical and very odd cultish following steeped in erudition. You do not know the full extent to which their literature has had woven into it occultist themes and concepts. But more than likely, no, it's the common prayers. It's pretty common. It's in the name. It's common.
All right. So you've all done some research. You've all done as much prep work as you can. We'll say that you go home for the evening. Let's go ahead and not give you the resting for the points pools yet. We'll come back to that. We'll call this like the same adventuring session, essentially. You meet up in the morning in the mystery machine, the van that I believe is sky blue, that you all pile into, and you start driving to Nindorf, in the Sella district, about an hour or so away. You stop for coffee or donuts or something on the way, so you're getting an early start in the morning. Which one of you is driving?
Naveen is happy to drive.
Naveen? Okay. Naveen,
She's being very supportive of Emily and wants her to like come out on top on this, and she's like doing whatever she can to like make this case sing.
Okay. Naveen, you are following the directions. It's very easy to do. This, it's northern Germany. It's very well mapped. You know exactly where it is on your GPS. You can download the map before you go in case you lose signal in a more rural area. So you don't have any problems getting there whatsoever. You spend some time on the highway. You get off the highway, and you start going through these rural country roads. They're winding. There are a lot of tight corners where you have to like check the mirror that they have posted, like nailed to a tree, to make sure no one's coming the other way, because it's one lane both ways. But it's nothing that's too difficult to drive through. As you get closer and closer, you get you will arrive at your destination in 2 minutes. Zander, you start getting a feeling of deja vu as you look out and you see these fields, these farm fields, and you feel like you've seen them before, and it takes you a moment to put your finger on it. You saw them before from a much higher angle. You saw them from several stories up from your apartment building. Just a couple nights ago, you dreamt about these fields. As you get closer and closer to this house, you see that it's this low German house that you're coming up. It's essentially a barn and a house, like almost like a Saxon hall in how it's built, but updated for modern standards. It's part barn, part house. Zander, you're not even looking at the house. You're looking at the field past it. As you see a herd of cows walking away, and what they're walking away from appear to be 2 dead cow bodies in the exact same placement. They look like they've got wounds in the exact same places that you remembered. There's no person, there's no dog here, but the details are spot on otherwise. You're even closer, and as Naveen, you pull into this house, Zander, you just get this. You specifically can just smell that blood, that iron. We'll go ahead and fade to black here for the night. Call it a day.
Ooh.
All right.
Holy
Hey.
crap.
Good
We
research
finished
session.
one.
We got a lot of good information out here.
We did.
What any of it means, who knows?
Yeah.
Let's do some shout outs. My tree, what do you got going on?
I am multi-plays games on YouTube where I make system agnostic or multi-system content about developers that center the GM and player experience.
Fantastic. Thank you. As for myself, I've made my own tabletop RPG. It's called Huckleberry, a Weird West RPG. All the links can be found at huckleberryrpg.com. We've just released a free quick draw edition, which is our quick start. It's got everything you need to play with pre-generated characters in a scenario that lasts like 5 some hours. An evening of Huckleberry entirely free. And we're doing a charity stream for Norse Foundry on Sunday. A couple people here will be in that. My Trey, Melissa, and Book below me will also be there. That'll be Sunday morning. And when that charity stream goes live, Huckleberry will actually go on sale. We're going to do 25% off. All sales during this, all proceeds from this sale will go directly towards Golisano Children's Hospital in Fort Myers. That's who Norse Foundry's supporting. Check out the book, check out the quick draw, and then spend some money later on to support a good cause. Jeff, what do we got going on with Adventures in Lollygagging?
Yeah, tomorrow we've got Call of Cthulhu, continuing our Eternal Lies game. Monday, we're still on hiatus for the time being. Tuesday, we've got Perils and Princesses that Kipser runs for us. Next Thursday, we'll have more Swords of the Serpentine. Friday next week, we usually do our Dragonbane night. And in 2 weeks, we'll be back with more Magnus archives. Also, check out the YouTube channel, Adventures in Lollygagging. Got all sorts of games up there. And you can see the things that we've been doing for the last however many years. There's like 900 plus videos up there. So go take a look.
Crazy.
Yep. So that's it. Let's
I've been at least 2 of those.
Let's go ahead and raid. Who are we gonna raid? Let's raid Lost Tribes Gaming. They're playing with their World of Darkness stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead, and that seems tangential.
Appropriate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and raid them. That's it. Have a great rest of your night. And come back tomorrow for some Call of Cthulhu. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.